Welcome to Exploring Alaska Native Voices, a show about the evolving character of Alaska Indigenous life in a world society. As this song says, come together, all as one.
Since the days when the kayak was high-tech to the paddle wheeler cargo and passenger haulers that changed the nature of the Yukon River, people have lived on the water for a reason. In Alaska, rivers are a reason to settle. Rivers are transportation. Rivers are food sources. Riverbanks are the places to build a village or a town. In summer and winter, Alaskan rivers are the inter-village connection between people and cultures. Boats built on the wooded banks of the Yukon River have been important for commerce and survival for as long as man can remember. As life became more stable, people found time for more recreation. Swimming failed to become an Olympic sport in the chilly waters of the Yukon, but as motors became more plentiful and efficient, boats got faster. We have found that certain people, when placed next to a machine, find speed as a preoccupation. On the Yukon River, boat racing started back in the middle of the 20th century. The grandest race of the Yukon River, which began in 1959, is still alive today. Called the ACS Yukon 800 Marathon, this annual race is held over the summer solstice. 800 refers to miles. 800 miles on the river, skimming the water as fast as you can in 2 legs on 2 consecutive days. The race starts on the Chena River in Fairbanks. The Chena runs through Fairbanks and is used by all: canoes, jet skis, motorboats, and for the inventive, independent Alaskan type, self-made boats, and still the historical high-rolling paddle wheel riverboats. Today, history shares the river system. A modern Yukon 800 racing boat passes a paddle wheeler that in days of yore was the water railroad, hauling freight and passengers. The race has matured over the past decades. Today, it utilizes the advantages of not only the knowledge of the river, but constantly uses new discoveries of hull design, engineering, props, and good old down-home experience. The Yukon River is not your gentle giant. It is a fast-moving piece of water with varying depths, side channels, submerged 60-foot floating logs, and toss in a sometimes chop that can pound the hull to death of a boat going up to 77 miles an hour, non-stop for a 6-hour-plus stretch. It's the longest, the toughest, the roughest riverboat race in the world. Believe it. The race starts in Fairbanks on the Chena River. Just a few miles downstream, the Chena flows into the Tanana River, goes by Nenana, Minto, and at Tanana runs into the Yukon. Downstream the boats go, past Ruby, until the first 400-mile day ends in Galena. At Galena, they will spend the night to rest and refuel, preparing for tomorrow's 400-mile leg back upstream to the finish. Pike's Landing in Fairbanks on the Chena is the ceremonial start. Kids, families, old-time racers all gather for the run. Last-minute adjustments and preparation take place before the launch. 7 boats are running this year. The water is slick. The crowd is in sleeveless tops. It looks like a grand day to go 400 miles down the mighty Yukon. The green flag waves go. 2000 Yukon 800 is off. The first boat down the channel is the Koyukuk Raiders, captained by A.J. Dick. Crew members Ted Jones and Lee McCotter in boat number 74. A.J. Dick, who grew up in Tanana, is the son of a former winner, Harlan Dick. Leaving at 2-minute intervals, the restart of the race is at the campground where the time clock begins ticking. The boats are chewing up water right through town on the Chena River. This race is fast, it's strategy, but it is not a free-for-all. Some gotta-haves are required. One gotta-have is 3 crew members, and the crew does more than go along for the ride. It's a team effort and everybody has an assignment. The captain leads the team and steers the boat. The engineer watches the water and listens to the motor, and the navigator plots the course for the shortest distance between 2 points. The object is choosing a line that is obstacle-free and avoid getting lost in a side channel. Reading the maps of the river course and depths is a crucial assignment. Yukon 800 boats are designed to be light and trim. The less water they touch, the faster they go. Getting unstepped close to immediate is critical. You will notice these boats are narrow. Making a turn is tricky if you want to stay upright. Weight distribution and leaning is an important job. To get unstepped quickly, the crew hangs over the bow. Careening around corners, the crew leans to compensate. This is how you maintain speeds up to 77 miles an hour with a 50 horsepower engine, which is the maximum allowed. That's only 50 horsepower, folks. 50, got it? 50 horsepower to gain 77 miles per hour. What a ratio! 10 miles south of the start, the race is in full throttle. Picking side channels between islands can save time. It can be a little tricky taking the short route, but experienced drivers will get on through, like behind the island up on the right. As you can see, straight lines in the Tanana are not standard issue. Some places water is exactly like a sandbar. Here the navigator is on duty, and the more innovative you can be, the more time you save. Sam Demintiff, a field officer of the BIA and a veteran of the Yukon 800, reveals a little secret.
You run the main channels, and you know the main channels, but in that racing you throw that all out, because it's wherever there's enough 8 inches of water, and straight on down. And you take all the risks again. And you can go in shallower water. All you have to do is raise your lift the motor up further, and the motor will run dry for a few seconds, but you'll scoot across a gravel bar and get on the other side and quickly put it down.
Between Nenana and the confluence of the Yukon River, the surface of the Tanana River is smooth as the boats put distance between each other. Jim Mobius, who has won the Yukon 800 several times, describes the course, which offers more than thrills.
The course is probably the big competitor. You talk about racing the other racers, there's probably more camaraderie than there is competition, although everybody wants to win the race. But the big opponent, competitor, is the course itself. It's 400 miles on 3 rivers. The water, the weather is varied. There are lots of hazards served up by Mother Nature, and it's not a course for the timid. You've got to get out there and run for a number of hours full speed, and your body takes a beating. But the course is truly befits the state we're in. Big, the water's big. We're looking at a boat here that's maybe 18 inches from top to bottom, and there have been times when we've been out in water that's where the waves are between 3 and 4 feet.
The spotting plane monitors the course to check on the status of the racers. The excitement is running high, the racers hanging tough, bodies pounding on the decks. Meanwhile, in Tanana, the spectators enjoy a popsicle in the daily news, waiting for the race to come by. Betty Page, wife of Bill Page, is a former racer, and this year is the race coordinator and official timekeeper.
Do you know if we got a ham operator down here?
Yeah, he's right there.
Oh, okay, there he is.
That's Kevin Avnet, a ham radio operator.
To keep track of all these guys, make sure that they get through all the checkpoints.
French cuisine in Tanana is all the rage.
Oh, the food here is excellent.
Finally, in first place is Click Bishop. A.J. Dick, Tanana hometown boy, and number 74 is close behind. Next is Harold Atla in boat number 9, running strong. Coming in, Village Trash, run by Archie Agnes. Millennium, Brian Kruger at the stick. And Victor Williams and his crew and Challenger chase the pack. The media is on the scene, reporting live from Tanana.
First of all, a lot of debris here on the Tanana, and one of the boats actually hit a log coming through here. Bill Page is officially out of the race. His motor broke down, and he was headed back to Pike's Landing as we speak. Should be arriving in there pretty soon. Weather just beautiful here in Tanana, and we'll have more coverage of the Yukon 800 from Galena in just a little while. For KFAR, I'm Rocky Barnett.
Tanana, historically, before the influence of the outside, was traditionally a place where the natives of the interior traded. In fact, the historic native name translates as a place where 2 rivers meet. In 1880, the Alaska Commercial Company built the first trading post. The winding, twisting channels of the Tanana River demand strategy. Team efforts were tested to the max. Now as the boats leave the Tanana and enter the Yukon, the boats are on a different track, one that is straight and wide. Speed now dominates over strategy. Some problems can be more humorous than dangerous. Sam de Minto told of the time the motor kept quitting. The crew would stand up and the motor would run, sit down and it would quit. The problem was solved when it was discovered one of them was sitting on the fuel line. The race is now on the Yukon River, which is Alaska's longest river, draining a third of the state, 330,000 square miles. It runs 1,400 miles from the Canadian border and dumps 1.9 million gallons of water into the Bering Sea every second. People have been living on this river 20,000 years, probably longer. The ancestors of these racers wouldn't believe the boats of the Yukon 800. Galena is the hub of 6 different villages. In 1919, it was founded as a supply point for Galena lead ore. Today, it is mostly populated by Koyukon Athabascans. The folks in Galena are patiently waiting on the beach for the boats to come in. For many years, the top management of the Alaska Communication Systems has given silver ingots to the leader at the halfway point. This year, the halfway trophy and cash was given in memory of Morris Thompson, the well-known, respected Native leader. Mary Alexander and her husband Wes, who won the Yukon 800 5 years in a row, Mary explains the importance of the river to the people.
It's a fun summertime event. It gets everybody out, and everybody loves the river. That's what it's all about up here in the interior, is our rivers. From break up to freeze up, you invent ways to be out and enjoying it. And if you're not at fish camp, you're out picnicking, you're camping, you're somewhere in your boat.
Sam de Minto explains the value of the river.
The Native people are all river people. You know, it doesn't matter what if you're in a canoe or a riverboat or a freight boat or whatever it is. They're river people, and they love it. They love being on the river. They know that it's been like a lifeline highway system, transportation route for them through the ages.
My name is Michael Stickman. I'm with Nolato, from the village of Nolato. I'm the tribal chief there in Nolato, but I'm also the president of the village corporation, which is consolidated with 4 villages: Nolato, Caltag, Kaikuk, and Galena. And this here, we're standing before our lodge, Wakatna Lodge. Anything that has to do with taking care of the tribal members from the young. Oh, there's the race boat coming in. The boat races here in Galena has been a yearly tradition for as long as I can remember. Must be Brian Kruger there. They were expecting and waiting for Brian Kruger. Brian Kruger is a resident of Fairbanks, but he's a past resident. He grew up here in Galena, so that was probably his boat there. It's the excitement, you know. Also during the boat races, they have an inter-village baseball tournament, men's and women's softball tournaments. All the villages from the surrounding area, Nolato, Caltag, Kaikuk, Huslia, you know, Alakakit, Hughes, you know, all the villagers, they come here to, you know, to see the boat races, but also to compete in the softball tournament. Any kind of sport that would bring happiness to people is a good sport.
Barges attend to the business of delivering goods, while the race calls it a day. Dawn is a moot point during the summer solstice this far north. The sun merely takes a power nap. It is now 6 a.m. The captains and crew have, hopefully, had a good night's rest. The weather looks good. 2 things have to be done. An upriver prop has to be put on the boat, and refueling is measured into the tanks. Going downstream, the boats could run with the strongest currents they could use. Going back upstream, the boats will choose the slack water and try to stay out of the main current. Like the boats, the props are highly technical. Thinner leading edges make a difference, as does pitch, for different conditions. 2 basic boat designs are used. The open bow, apparent by the open deck, designed by Jim Mobius and Ed Gustafson, Jim Mobius shows us some of the reasons for the design.
Here, if you look at it, it's really shaped sort of like an airfoil, so that the air that's coming over the top acts much like a wing.
The other design is the Star Wars, designed by Jerry Evans. The Star Wars, as you can see, has a center deck. Both boat designs draw as little water as possible. These 24-foot long boats have trade-off advantages. Star Wars boats handle better in rough water, and the open bow boats handle better in smooth water. A flare signals for the boats to jockey into position.
We are here in Galena for the restart of the Yukon 800. It's roughly 6 a.m. and the boats are all ready. I'm actually impressed that everybody was good to go. And the boats are taking off there. Yeah, they got the flag and they're headed out.
Click Bishop has the leader's advantage as they leave Galena, but it is 400 miles of wilderness river. Betty Page recounts her former racing days.
Very exciting. When the water's rough, then it's really hard on the body, and I wonder, why am I doing this? We ended up, we went across the wave of another boat, and the air trap caught, and we done a 90-degree and headed right for a sandbar, and we ended up like a full boat length and a half off of the river on the sandbar, and we had to haul logs and put it underneath the boat to get the boat back in the river and then take off again.
Hopes are high going back upstream. The strategy upstream is to find that slack water to gain maximum speed up the strong currents of the Yukon River. Tim Jahola, this year's race marshal, awaits the racers in Tanana.
Well, the trip back is between a half hour longer. The reason for that is, on the way down, you can see where the current flows. You'll see the racers run in the fast water. And then on the way back, they'll run in the slack water. And what I mean by slack water, you can see over on the south bank where the water's slower coming upstream.
Change in the color of water indicates the change in rivers. The Tanana now offers its winding channels with the obstacles of an uphill current. The other boats aren't far behind. As long as the gas holds out, the motor doesn't break down, a hidden log doesn't flip the craft, or a sandbar beaches a boat, it can be anybody's race. At this point, the question is, will the engine handle the stress? Will the racers handle the stress?
You've got to have a rough water line all planned out. And because things are happening so fast, the Yukon can kind of put you to sleep because the stretches are long. You've got 5 or 10 minutes to look at where you're going. The Tanana, everything picks up on the upstream side, and after you've had this opportunity to think ahead, things happen very quickly at the time when you're the most fatigued.
At this point in the race, the bodies of the racers have also taken a beating. This is where you don't want to make a mistake due to fatigue. Re-engineering the water intake is standard for these custom boats. The intake is drilled into a point slightly below the shaft of the propeller, enabling the boats to run in shallow water. Passing by Nenana, the race heads into the last leg towards the Fairbanks finish.
It makes good for people knowing who's who, and like people up and down the river now who know who Ed Gustus and who Jerry Evans is, who Bill Page is, who Wes Alexander is, and all the other racers. Everybody knows everybody else. It helps us get along in life.
On to the last river. The blue water of the Chena flows into the muddy Tanana. The race comes back to the start in Fairbanks as the crowd waits at Pike's Landing. And around the last bend comes a winning boat. 13 hours, 37 minutes. The checkered flag falls on this summer's race. As the season sets on another summer solstice, the ACS Yukon 800 Marathon becomes a tradition in the North, bringing people together and uniting Alaskans. It has found its place in history and saved a place in the future.
Do it all over again. Do it all over again. Do it all over again. 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 Right through, waves up 4 feet high as we glide down every single shortcut and slough, touching base at every checkpoint. We grab a bite whenever we can. It's a crazy float on this riverboat, and we'll do it all over again. Do it all over again. Do it all over again. Again, again.